Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most dramatic and fascinating stories in modern history, the epic tale of Cuba. In 1492, Christopher Columbus stepped onto a stunning Caribbean island and claimed it for Spain. He had no idea that this small island would later challenge the most powerful nation on Earth, not once, but twice. From Spanish colony to revolutionary beacon, Cuba's history is filled with blood, courage, music, and incredible resilience. So sit back, relax, and let's travel through more than 500 years of Cuban history together. Long before Columbus arrived, the Taíno people called this island home. They were peaceful, indigenous farmers and fishermen who lived in harmony with the beautiful tropical environment. On October 27, 1492, Columbus landed near what is now Baracoa and wrote in his diary that he had never seen lands so beautiful or people so gentle. The Spanish wasted no time taking control. They soon turned Cuba into the crown jewel of their empire, proudly calling it the Pearl of the Antilles. Vast sugar, tobacco, and coffee plantations brought enormous wealth to Spain. But this prosperity was built on unimaginable suffering. Over the centuries, hundreds of thousands of enslaved Africans were forcibly brought to Cuba in horrific conditions to work the fields under brutal slavery.
By the 19th century, Cubans had grown tired of Spanish colonial rule. In 1868, a wealthy plantation owner named Carlos Manuel de Céspedes freed his own slaves and issued the famous Cry of Yara, starting the 10 Years' War for Independence. Although the war ultimately failed, it awakened a powerful spirit of resistance across the island. The movement gained even more strength through José Martí, a brilliant poet, journalist, and visionary leader. While living in exile in New York, Martí worked tirelessly to unite Cubans everywhere. In 1895, he returned to fight and was killed in battle, instantly becoming Cuba's most beloved national hero and martyr. Then came 1898. The mysterious explosion of the American battleship USS Maine in Havana Harbor gave the United States the perfect excuse to declare war on Spain. The Spanish-American War ended quickly with an American victory. On May 20th, 1902, Cuba finally gained its formal independence. But the United States maintained huge influence through the Platt Amendment, which gave America the legal right to intervene in Cuban affairs anytime they wanted. In the early decades of the new republic, Havana transformed into a glittering paradise for the wealthy. Luxury hotels, casinos, nightclubs, and cabarets attracted Hollywood celebrities, wealthy Americans, and even organized crime figures like Meyer Lansky. Classic American cars cruised along the Malecón seafront, and the city earned the nickname the Paris of the Caribbean. Life looked glamorous on the surface, but the reality for most Cubans was very different. While a small elite enjoyed luxury, the majority of people, especially farmers and workers in the countryside, lived in extreme poverty with almost no access to proper education or healthcare. Corruption was everywhere. In 1952, former Army Sergeant Fulgencio Batista staged a military coup and became a ruthless dictator, backed by the United States. Many Cubans felt angry and hopeless. But one determined young man was carefully watching everything. That man was Fidel Castro, a passionate and idealistic lawyer. On July 26, 1953, Castro and around 135 rebels launched a surprise attack on the Moncada barracks in Santiago de Cuba. The attack was a military failure. Many rebels died, and Castro was captured. During his trial, he delivered one of the most powerful political speeches in Latin American history, famously ending with the words, "History will absolve me." He was sentenced to 15 years, but was released after only 2 years thanks to political pressure. Castro then fled to Mexico, where he met Ernesto Che Guevara, a young Argentine doctor who would become his closest comrade. In November 1956, Castro,
His brother Raul, Che Guevara, and 81 other revolutionaries boarded a small, leaky yacht called the Granma and set sail for Cuba to start their revolution. The Granma landing was almost a disaster. Government troops attacked right away, and only about 12 men survived the first few days. Fidel, Raul, and Che escaped into the dense Sierra Maestra mountains. There, deep in the jungle, they slowly rebuilt their small guerrilla force. They lived with local peasants, gained their trust, and launched hit-and-run attacks on Batista's army. Their radio station, Radio Rebelde, broadcast messages of hope across the entire country. By late 1958, the rebel army had grown into thousands of determined fighters. On January 1st, 1959, dictator Batista fled Cuba. Fidel Castro and his bearded revolutionaries triumphantly entered Havana, greeted by massive cheering crowds. After years of struggle, the Cuban Revolution had finally succeeded.
Once in power, the new revolutionary government moved fast. They nationalized American-owned businesses, carried out major land reform, and dramatically improved education and healthcare for ordinary Cubans. These changes alarmed the United States. In 1961, the CIA backed an invasion by Cuban exiles at the Bay of Pigs. The invasion was a complete failure and only made Fidel Castro more popular. Then, in October 1962, the world held its breath during the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Soviet Union had secretly placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from Florida. For 13 terrifying days, the United States and Soviet Union stood on the brink of nuclear war. The crisis ended with a secret deal, but Cuba stayed closely allied with the Soviet Union for the next 3 decades. Soviet aid kept the Cuban economy alive during those years. Then everything changed in 1991 when the Soviet Union suddenly collapsed. Cuba lost billions in annual aid almost overnight. The country entered what Cubans call the special period, one of the hardest times in their history. There were terrible shortages of food, fuel, and medicine. Electricity blackouts lasted for many hours every day. People had to invent creative ways to survive, including urban farming and using bicycles instead of cars. Despite all the suffering, Cuban society held together. The old 1950s American cars continued running because there were no new parts. Music, dance, and strong community spirit helped people endure. Slowly over the following years, Cuba began allowing limited private businesses and opened up more to tourism. Today, Cuba remains one of the most unique, colorful, and contradictory countries in the world. It has produced world-class doctors, incredible athletes, and some of the best music on the planet. Whatever your political views, it is impossible not to admire the extraordinary resilience of the Cuban people. They have survived colonialism, slavery, wars, revolution, economic crises, and decades of embargo. Yet they continue to dance, create, and dream. Right now in 2026, tensions between the United States and Cuba are rising again. The U.S. has tightened sanctions and restricted oil shipments to the island, leading to serious fuel shortages, blackouts, and what many are calling a new Cuban crisis. The Cuban government is facing one of its toughest economic moments in decades, while the U.S. continues to push for major changes on the island. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive into Cuba's epic history. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more history videos, and let me know in the comments, what part of Cuba's story surprised you the most? Or what do you think about the current situation between the US and Cuba? Until next time, hasta la victoria siempre. See you in the next one.